Welcome everyone. I am Chris Gore. I hope you're having like pumpkin pie for breakfast. Isn't that like one of the great things about Thanksgiving leftovers? Pumpkin pie can become a breakfast treat. Welcome. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. I'm going to be joined very shortly by Alan Ng, the editor-in-chief of Film Threat. Today, we're going to be talking about... Wait, what are we going to be talking about? I have it right here. We're going to be talking about the first 3 episodes of Willow, which premiere next week on Disney+. Also, Strange World. Disney Animation is back on a Thanksgiving weekend. A lot to discuss with Strange World. Both Alan and I saw it yesterday, and we have thoughts. Also, The Pale Blue Eye starring Christian Bale comes out next month. We've got an early review and the documentary Deconstructing Karen. So much to talk about. We are 59,000 subscribers strong. That's 59,000.
69.
59,000.
69.
59,000 subscribers strong. Let's get things started. Let's get the show going. I see a lot of people in the chat. This is great. Hopefully you're just like sitting, watching, eating leftovers and just, watching us. So I love it. Let's go. Hey, Alan. How's it going, man?
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, no, I actually got sick on Thanksgiving, so.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So we didn't. Yeah, and I basically thought I could get better and couldn't, and then had to call my family, say I wasn't going to make it. And guess what? Nothing's open on Thanksgiving night, so we ate what was in the refrigerator.
I think there's fast food. I mean, you can get fast food. Oh man, that's a bummer.
Not in my area. I live in such a remote area that a lot of those were closed.
Well, my Thanksgiving plans also derailed. You're sick with a cold. We were talking about it before the show started. So it's a standard issue cold. It's a standard issue cold is what you have.
Yes.
Fun.
Not COVID. I tested myself.
Yeah, but yet you're here. So thank you for that.
I got better.
My girlfriend is sick and I'm bummed. She just got a sore throat, cold. It's not COVID. She's sick. So I didn't see her at Thanksgiving and then ended up going out with my aunt and other members of the family. We went out to dinner, which is not what we would normally do. We would normally so I have no Thanksgiving leftovers, nothing. It doesn't even feel like I had a Thanksgiving. It's kind of a bummer, but I hope that in spite of the fact that Alan and I both had kind of lackluster Thanksgivings,
Yeah.
I give this Thanksgiving a 3 out of 5. What do you think? No, 3 out of 10. Remember when you gave a movie a 6 out of 5?
Yeah, I give it a 6 out of 5.
6 out of 5, and no one corrected you. It was hilarious. I wasn't on.
That was early on. That was like one of my first early videos. So.
Oh my God, that was so funny. I couldn't stop teasing you about that. I give it a 6 out of 5. God, we got to get that. You know what? We have to actually clip that. We have to.
Well, you can find it.
Oh, you got to help me.
There's a lot of video to go through to find it.
Oh man. I give maybe a 3 out of 10 for my Thanksgiving because I saw Strange World. We're gonna be talking about that. Let's see who's in the chat. And also, by the way, it's Alan and I flying blind on a rocket cycle. We have no producer. We're producerless. We're Glanuccio-less today, and we hope he's having a great Thanksgiving weekend. We appreciate Glanuccio is killing it with the thumbnails and the clips, and the channel would not be the same without him. So he has a well-deserved time off. So there you go. Wow, we've got okay. We're gonna try to do this, Alan. You know how it is when we try to do something technical?
Yes.
We have that that sort of tension where we're just trying to figure out how to So Alan and I are going to be starring the comments. We're going to be unstarring comments. We will do our best. We will do our best to get to all your comments. But going to be far from perfection. So we'll do our best. Okay. All right.
I don't know why you're playing that music.
I always feel stressed out. I feel like I'm diffusing a bomb when I'm doing that. But here we go. We got some super chats here. Let's start with Enrico Palazzo. Sounds like one of the members of the.
No, it's from Naked Gun. It's from Naked Gun.
Oh, okay, that's right.
He was the opera singer.
Oh my God, Enrico Palazzo for 5. If you could take a film, good or bad, and remake it because you think it could be better, what would you choose as an example? 1 of 2. Okay. Enrico goes on to say, I would have remade Highlander with Gerard Butler after 300, my favorite childhood movie, Island at the Top of the World, into an R-rated actioner. First of all, those are great ideas. I love the Highlander series. I think the story is great. The only good movie out of the Highlander series is, frankly, the first movie. But Gerard Butler would be fantastic after 300 to do Highlander. And then Island at the Top of the World, I think that myself and Enrico may be the only people that remember that movie.
Yeah, I don't know that movie.
It's an old school action movie from like the 70s, but like it's not a lot of action in it. But yeah, those are good. What would you have remade? What movie would you remake?
I honestly think you could remake Duck Soup or one of the other Marx Brothers movies. I feel, to me, it feels like a challenge, but that I would be willing to take on. But those guys are so timeless, and Duck Soup is one of those movies that I feel like applies today. So I would, part of me feels like you don't need to do it, but part of me feels like the challenge would be interesting to see what the final result is.
Right. Well, yeah, no, I like just going to a generic background here. I like I like the idea because a remake is not necessarily a bad thing. You can update and whatnot. I think a decent remake. I'd like to see maybe the DOA is one of my favorite. Dead on Arrival. It's an old school film noir. It's been remade a couple times. The one that was from the 80s starred Dennis Quaid. And DOA is about a guy who gets poisoned. He's going to be dead in 24 hours, and he has to solve his own murder. Also, there was a video game early on in the early Mac. I'm talking about like the Mac SE30 that had like a version of that story as a game. Speaking of ducks, Howard the Duck would be a good remake, says Brock Samsonite. Yeah, with today's effects.
Not under current Marvel.
Yeah, under current Marvel. I have after seeing Strange New World and Willow and having recently seen Wakanda Forever, I have a rant. I have a suggestion for Disney that is going to make everybody happy, and you're going to be shocked when you hear it.
You mean everybody quit and
yeah. Put Elon Musk in charge, fire everybody, burn the building down, and then start over. That's a joke, folks. Don't take me out of context. Let's get to your comments here and questions before we get started. Here we go. Matt Guillemet for 2. Chris Gore, I love your Star Wars rants. Well, thank you very much. It's sort of like it's definitely it recurs as a thing, sort of like getting like upset at Star Wars because it was such an easy. I thought that the sequels could have been a home run, such a simple like knock it out of the park, bring back the legacy characters, put them on an adventure, introduce some new characters. The new characters kind of take over and kind of a handoff, respectful handoff, and going off into new. We should be hearing an announcement that they're going to be making Star Wars, a new trilogy, Star Wars Episode X, which would be Episode 10, 10, 11, and 12. Because early on, George Lucas talked about that it'll be like 9 or 12 episodes. That's what mostly those serials were, like 12 or 15. They could have introduced new characters in the Star Wars sequel trilogy and then made a third trilogy that focused on those characters, right? With, no Han, Luke, and Leia. They could have done that. There could be, look, if people were making decent decisions, but we know that that's not the case.
Well, clearly they had no plan, and they had limited time to create a plan, and this was the result of it.
Yeah. More comments here. Luther Talbert's a member, says, "Strange world, more like strange hurl. Am I right? High five, anyone? Here we go." He says, horror punk, hail chat, hail horror punk. Always like talking to horror punk on Discord. Very active on Discord. Baron Duke Monarch the Fifth says, Goku Gore. Len Barnett says, good morning. Sigurd Holbarki says, happy Thanksgiving to all from the UK. Hey, happy Thanksgiving to you. And there you go. I hope, what did they got it? I know there's a version of Thanksgiving in Canada. I don't know if there's one in the UK. I don't know. Someone from the UK in the chat, is there a version of Thanksgiving that exists in the UK? Slater says, Life's Too Short was a BBC/HBO collab written by Ricky Gervais. Yeah, Life's Too Short was awesome. I saw that series.
Oh, I love that one.
Oh, so good. So good.
But it has the classic improv rant with Liam Neeson.
That Liam Neeson rant is so good, where he's trying to improv it. Oh my God, it's so good.
I have full-blown AIDS.
It's just like, oh my God. That you couldn't even do that now, which is what I love. Oh my God. All right, let's we're continuing here with your chat comments. Oh wow, we've got like 400 people watching. There must be, I'll say, you know what that tells me? There's not a lot of interest in the World Cup. That's what it tells me. Because I as soon as and also I am very pre-coffee because I got up about 30 minutes ago. So, I got up, flicked on like, all right, who's playing in the World Cup? I saw the USA versus Wales a couple days ago. It was a tie. And I don't know. I just find the World Cup really, I kind of love it. It's like relaxing to have it on and love it. Horror Punk says, happy Friday, everyone. I hope that my Film Threat family has had as much of a wonderful day of gluttony as I did spending day with my wife, daughter, and John Hughes. Oh, that's awesome. I think you could tell from the beginning, Alan and I did not have a really good Thanksgiving. People, there's just, it's just a standard issue cold. It's not the flu, but I know you got it, Alan.
Yeah.
People sick in my family, and we went out to dinner. I can't complain, really, but yeah.
I mean, where did you go? I'm curious as to the Thanksgiving buffet that you went to.
It was at. Do you really want? Okay, I'm gonna check.
Yeah, I really do want to
look at because I put everything.
I'm always looking for good
buffets. Put everything in my calendar. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna be at that Birdemic screening at the Frida Cinema.
Yep.
We should. Wait, I have a graphic for that. We're gonna be a little slow today, everyone. So I'm just warning you in advance to please be patient with us. I'm pushing all the wrong buttons, of course. Let's see. I will be in Santa Ana, California at the screening of Birdemic at the Frida Cinema. It's in Santa. Go to thefridacinema.org to get tickets. There is a screening, I believe it's 7:30, and a Q&A after the screening. I'll be there. We'll have Film Threat giveaways. That was posted on our Instagram. So there you go. I thought, why is that graphic not bigger? What am I doing wrong? I don't know. So I'll tell you where I went. I went to the Arroyo Trabuco Golf Club in Mission Viejo. So they have a Thanksgiving buffet, which is great. They have prime rib, turkey, stuffing. But it's always, here's what bothers me. Everybody has a different take on stuffing. Some has celery in it, some doesn't. Some have cranberries and some do not. Not a real fan of their take on stuffing. Everybody makes it slightly different. They have their own little spin on stuffing. It's a person who makes the best stuffing in my family.
Yeah.
It's my Aunt Debbie. She makes the best stuffing. And my Aunt Diane. It's a tie. I have two aunts that are twins. And they're both incredible cooks. Thank you to my grandmother, my Mima.
Yeah. Well, a Chinese Thanksgiving is very much like an American one, except there's no stuffing, no mashed potatoes, and no pumpkin pie. So for 30 years, I never knew that these were things that you associate with Thanksgiving, which was fine. I'm not a big starch person.
I am a big starch person, unfortunately. I like the carbo load, which is not good for me. And there you go. Solomon Thornton, I saw Blade Runner, the final cut in theaters on Thanksgiving night. What an experience. That is the best cut of that film.
Yeah. And you had a better night than Chris and I had.
Yeah, well, wait till we get to the movie that we saw. Oh God. Spidey Sensei 72 says, anyone see Bones and All yet? I have not seen it, Alan.
Yeah, I have the screener, so I will be seeing it because nominations are due at the Critics' Choice.
Right.
I believe in a week, so that's one I have to
We'll
catch.
talk about Bones and All on next Wednesday. So we will be discussing it. Mr. Luthor says, Chris makes Bedhead look so cool. This is literally, I got about 45 minutes ago. I'm like, I got to do a show. I got to do a show with Alan, and I have no producer helping us. Let's go. So yeah, I don't know. We're here. And look, Goober, Debbie does stuffing. Come on. My aunts growing up were the coolest. They were fun to hang out with. They were my Aunt Debbie and Diane. One is a brunette and one is a blonde, and they're fraternal twins. That's where they're not identical twins. Is it maternal twins?
That's right.
Not fraternal, maternal. I'm getting
fraternal. Yeah.
Look, haven't even had like a sip of coffee yet. I had a couple sips. That's it. I'm booting up my hard drive in my brain. But when I was younger, and they're older than me, obviously, they were like Betty and Veronica. They were always referred to as like Betty and Veronica. So there you go. Make of that what you will. Michael Seagriff says, what does film threat mean? Alan?
To be honest, for me, it's we exist to be a threat to mainstream film industry. And,
that's a good interpretation. I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, when I was a kid, I was like in high school. I was 18 years old. Just thought film threat sounded kind of punk rock, and I was into punk rock music. I was into punk rock. I dressed punk. And I just thought it was a cool name. So I went with it. Wedge Seraph says, I'd like to see a remake of The Running Man that's faithful to the novel. Could be quite relevant these days. Yes, I think so. It's really interesting. I was watching or listening to a podcast that was talking about how vastly different the book of The Running Man is. And it's much more political, and it sounds really interesting. Great suggestion, Wedge Sheriff. Couple super chats here. Greasy Vavop for $5.55. I watched Slacker and was shocked to see no famous actors, considering Linklater launched many careers with Dazed and Confused. Why do you think that is? Well, one, it was his second feature film. Richard Linklater in Austin, Texas had made a Super 8 feature film called How I Learned to Plow. It's like this insanely long title with the word plow in it. Then he made Slacker, was his second feature film that he made on 16 millimeter. It was much longer. It was just an early film in his career. Dazed and Confused was then his third feature, and he was able to get a budget from a studio and attention. And those people were not stars when they were cast. Ben Affleck was not a star when he appeared in Dazed and Confused. You know, when you look at that cast, which is remarkable, how many people from Dazed and Confused went on to become big stars. They weren't stars at the time. So that's the answer to that question. And you should go and rewatch Dazed and Confused. Consider the year that it was made. I think it was like 93, 94 it came out.
Somewhere.
Alan,
So, I mean,
find out.
Yeah. My question is, what did you think of then Boyhood? 93, by the way.
And Alan,
I already had it.
What year was it?
93. 93. There you go. You can clip that.
We're just gonna get you saying like every number.
69. Yeah, random numbers.
Boobs and peepees.
I don't even know where that one is from.
Oh, that was about Babylon.
It's gonna be a long show, folks. It's gonna be a long show. But yeah, that's the 93, and those people weren't stars yet. The Beast 808 for 5 says, "Hey Alan, thanks for accepting my follow request." Yeah, thanks. Now I gotta see you're in the feed. You're in my feed.
My pleasure. I personally thank everybody through a bot.
Always enjoy the streams. Remain blessed, gentlemen. Thank you, The Beast 808. We appreciate it. That's awesome. Evening from Poland. All the best, guys. Says Piter 86 for 10 Polish something. Let me just say something. I am Polish. My grandmother was Polish. We used to eat guamki and pierogis growing up, and my sister and I would fight over leftover pierogis. They were homemade pierogis from my grandmother, and she'd always send us home with like a bunch left over. My sister and I, it's always like one of those things where like, I'm gonna get them first. And you'd like get like a cast iron skillet, you fry them in there so they're kind of crispy on the outside, throw a little sour cream on. Now I want pierogis. But yes, evening from Poland. Yeah. And let me just say this. I heard many Polish jokes growing up as a kid. A lot of Polish jokes. Because Polish people came to Detroit to work in the auto industry. And it's sort of like when someone from another country comes to America, it's like they get harassed and razzed. It's like, you're the new kid, huh? We're going to make jokes all about your culture. And then that goes away and then nobody cares. But that happens. So I grew up with Polish jokes constantly. I was proud of being Polish. But I'm like Polish, German, Russian, Irish, and English. So there you go. No, German. Wait, German, English, Irish, Polish, Russian. There we go. Horror Punk, The Running Man, is actually being remade by Lee Winnell, the writer and director of Upgrade and The Invisible Man. It could be good. It could be good, especially if like what I heard in the book happens. I think that could be really interesting.
Yeah,
it could be really interesting. Let's get right into it. First, I want to thank, there's nearly 600 people watching right now. Please slap that like button. Helps us get, in the algorithm, helps the video get recommended. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're no longer subscribed. And please, look, it's Black Friday. I don't have any Black Friday coupons for you. I do have this amazing eWin gaming chair, which is basically allowing me to do longer live streams because I'm comfortable, actually, for once. I can comfortably sit in the chair. There is a 20% off with offer code Film Threat. There's a link in the description of this video. Check out the link. 20% off. If you get their most expensive chair, you'll save yourself $100 with that Film Threat offer code. So just check it out. If you're in the market for a chair. Alan, are you in the market for a chair?
I am in the market for a chair.
All right. Well, we'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll talk, Alan. But yeah, so there's my plug for that. But also if you want to talk to us for any reason, go to filmthreat.com/contact. If you have a movie that you'd like us to review, or I don't know. We're always looking for writers, although we've had like a slew of new writers come in on the Film Threat website. In fact, what's happening on Film Threat right now?
Oh yeah, I mean, I can tell you, we're a little slow. We're a little slower in the Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I know, because I went in, Alan. I went in, and I'm like, we have no Thanksgiving content on the front page. All I did was search the word Thanksgiving, and I reposted something on the front page.
Yeah, from long ago.
Yeah, from like 3 years ago. So, but what's this? Blood Relatives? Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Enola Holmes 2. That's new on Netflix. All right, we're covering.
We gave that one a 10 out of 10.
The King of Laughter.
King of Laughter is it's a biopic of of Eduardo Scarpelli, who famous actor at the turn of the century in Italy.
Here's an article, the top 10 Thanksgiving films. I'm sure that's interesting. The Lost King. I don't know what is that?
The Lost King, yeah.
This is our movie proves, this is the front page of Film Threat right now. Our movie proves you need some good graphics for your film. If you're going to like film for a review, have some good like artwork to accompany your movie.
Yeah, well, if you knew what this movie was, you'd realize how important that image is. And
oh, really? Okay. All right. I don't know. The Last of the Winthrops. The thing is, I go to Film Threat because I don't know. I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
I want to see what like new indie movies are coming out, or when we cover like bigger films too. Oh, this one looks fun. Of the Devil. Neo horror. Here we go. I don't know what this is.
This is about a rapper who passed away recently.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It seems to be the only time I ever learn about a rapper is after they passed away.
Yeah. This is the one you want to see, right?
Well, I'll see something trending on Twitter. I'm like, I don't know this rapper's name. And as soon as I discover them, they're
No, I meant this movie, Kill Bill.
Oh, Kill Bill. What is this?
That's the Kill Bill.
That's right. It's like a Kill Bill remake, but in another country.
Yeah. I forget what country it is. I want to say Bolivia.
Right. All right. Well, look, what is this animated rock opera, Death of a Rock Star? That looks bizarre.
That's what it is.
Catfish Christmas. That's very well timed. Well, there you go. All right. Look, we're just, check that out. Oh, also go to shop.filmthreat.com. We've got all sorts of stuff. Film Threat t-shirt, Film Threat mug. You can get this amazing film. I'm trying to get it large here. Film Threat mug. Check that out. It kind of matches the shirt in a way. There you go. You get that combo. So go to shop.filmthreat.com and for all your shopping needs, your Cyber Monday shopping needs, etc. Let's get right into it, Alan, as we do a reset. Oh, wait, did we have any comments come in? Oh, yes. So how bad is Willow? We're going to get right to it. Fucking full Canelli says favorite Polish joke. I don't know. And the derisive term for someone Polish was you're a Polak. You Polak. I can't tell you how much it kind of went away by high school because whatever, there are plenty of other things to tease me about, like my fashion choices. But no, I was just like a Polak. I was the Polak kid, Gore, which Gore is not a Polish name.
Did you hear about that Polish girl who got pregnant but wasn't sure if the baby was hers?
No, that's your Polish joke. Damn it, Alan. All right, we're going to get right into it. And another super chat here from Jay's Prime for $19.99. Watched the new Will Ferrell, Ryan Reynolds film Spirited with the family last night. Everyone groaned when we realized it's a musical. Turned it off after 15 minutes in. Boring and not funny. Put on Black Phone. Everyone loved it. Oh, that's great. Black Phone is one of the best horror films of this year. Yeah. Barbarian, Black Phone, X and Pearl. It's been a really good year. Even Smile. I did not love Smile, but I'm like, all right, at least it's not torture porn. I'm sort of over that genre.
Do you consider The Menu a horror, or is that more of
a black comedy? It was probably more comedy than horror. But yeah, it's been a really good year for horror. But yeah, that's great that you like that. I got a free subscription. Oh, they're giving away free 3-month subscriptions to Apple TV Plus right now if you have a Roku box. All you need is a Roku. The promotion, you go over, you sign in, you have 90 days and of course I already put a calendar alert to cancel after 90 days. But now you can watch that film Spirited. I had planned to watch it because I heard a couple people who liked it. Now I'm hearing mixed.
Yeah. I think we'll eventually get to it. I've not been excited to. I've not been compelled to want to see it.
Well, we'll review it. But if you have a Roku box, Roku stick, which I strongly recommend Roku over an Apple TV. I just think it's a better designed device, much more simple. Plus you've got private channels and a lot of other. Roku is just a great, it's to me, the best streaming box is a Roku, but free 90 days Apple TV Plus promotion that they're running right now. So I strongly recommend it. There's a lot of good things. Ted Lasso, of course. Mythic Quest, the 3rd season just launched, and I loved the first 2 seasons of Mythic Quest. The first season is great. Second season was okay, but I just love those characters. So I will be watching Mythic Quest on Apple TV Plus, and I just signed up for 90 days for nothing. So there you go. But let's get right to it, Alan. Let me do a reset here. We have a whole thing. This actually helps Glanuccio with like editing the clips. Is once he sees like the background has changed, then he realizes that it's it's a whole different thing. So let's talk about it, Alan. And what I really want to do is when we review Willow and give our reaction to episodes 1 through 3, we do need to follow up with a review of Strange World Disney, because I see a trend in everything Disney. Okay. And what is the trend? Very prominent characters that are gay in leading roles. And Willow starts off that way. Alan, why don't you launch in? You've seen more episodes than I've seen, but why don't you give us like a quick synopsis of at least the first episode and sort of events from episode 2 and 3. So there may be spoilers in here. Like if you do consider hearing some of these things spoilers, I mean, it's not anything that I don't think it's anything shocking.
Well, by the way, Disney had asked us to not reveal one big spoiler.
What's the big spoiler?
The big spoiler. It's regarding regarding Dove and her.
Dove? That's
it is a big spoiler, and they just asked us not to reveal it.
Well, I may end up revealing it because I don't know what they asked us to
okay. If I said the word revelation, would that make sense?
I don't think it's much of a revelation. We're talking about 2 girls kissing in the first.
No, it's not about that. It's not.
Okay.
It's about one of the side characters.
Oh, I know which side character we're talking about.
All right, so we can't.
Yes, I do. I do know. Okay, yes. Let's not. We can also. To me, that's the least interesting thing about the first episode.
I know, but they were very specific in us not talking about it.
Okay. Well, we basically the opening scene of this show is characters Jade and Kit. Kit is the daughter of Saoirse, who was in the first Willow movie. Her and Val Kilmer had children, a son and a daughter. And Kit and Jade are friends, and they want to be knights, and they're training and fighting with swords. These 2 ladies, and they're fighting with swords, and you can feel the sexual tension. You can feel the sexual tension with Kit and Jade, the 2 characters that are introduced. Kit is to be wed to, what's this actor's name? I like him. Graydon, played by Tony Revolori, really good comedic actor.
Yeah, Flash Thompson from Spider-Man.
Yeah, Flash. The guy who plays Flash Thompson. I like that actor. He's been in a bunch of indie movies where he's been very good. So Kit is supposed to be married to Graydon to unite the kingdoms. This is a story we've heard a million times, right? We're going to unite the kingdoms to fight the threat of blah 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 blah. But what's different is Jade and Kit are 2 women that are fighting, and her brother, played by, who's the brother? His name is Eric, but it's spelled AIRK. Eric is played by Dempsey Burke, and he's just a womanizer. He is, he's just totally distracted with whatever woman he's into that week or whatever. But he has a special affection for a girl named Dove. In any case, there's a threat from the kingdom. Some evil warriors invade, of course, when all these festivities are happening. And it's a little different. The Prince Eric, is abducted, not the princess Kit, but the prince is abducted and taken away. So what has to happen? They have to they even use the word fellowship. Okay. and they get together a bunch of the best warriors, which includes Kit and Jade and Prince Graydon, and they go off basically to recover the prince, right? Now, what's interesting is from the story, and this was written by Jonathan Kasdan, who is Lawrence Kasdan's son, who did Solo. And I will say this, at least something happens in the first episode. At least something happens, but everything about it to me screams generic fantasy. Generic, but we're going to do a twist, right? We have and Jade and Kit, you see as they're off, there's a campfire with their fellowship group that's off to rescue Eric, and they kiss in the first episode. Jade and Kit kiss in the first episode. Jade is played by Erin Kellerman, and Ruby Cruz plays Kit. And Joanne Whalley is back as Sorsha, which I was super impressed by that. Warwick Davis is a wizard that they're seeking out to help. They find Willow at the very end. It's Willow Oofgood. I forgot that Willow had like a last name. But they encounter the wizard Willow at the very end of the episode to join their fellowship to rescue Prince Eric. That's the story. Here's like on the positive. I'm just gonna get out of the way. The actually story is like, okay, we've seen it before, but like, all right, they're giving it a twist. It's different. But everything about it just smacks of sort of very generic. The action. There's one action scene I laughed out loud. It's utterly ridiculous. Do you remember this? They're riding on horses, and the one warrior, his name is Borman. They're riding on these horses, and they're riding towards a cliff, and they just jump off the cliff with their horses into this bed of water, and they're fine. When you saw that, Alan, did your jaw kind of drop?
Yeah, you just kind of expect things like that. It's sad, but you're just used to it. And
it just completely defied the laws of physics. They jump off a cliff into a body of water that's like maybe 5 feet deep, and everybody's okay. It was like, wait, what? And it looks awful. It looks terrible. It looks like an overworked CGI person doing CGI from another country, where they couldn't quite communicate. There was a language barrier in what they were trying to achieve special effects wise. And anyways, just everything about it just smacks of sort of generic and I don't know. I just, and there're just a lot of places I just sort of cringed and was like, why am I watching this? I will say this, oddly, I enjoyed it much better than Rings of Power.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's so much better written.
That's what's so funny. But this is how low the bar is. The bar is so low that like this writing, which is so mid to bad, is better than Rings of Power. Yeah. Because
I hate Rings of Power, and this just shows how you can tell that story without getting so pretentious.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, this is not a good series, but I would rather sit through this than Rings of Power again.
For sure. It was just, you see the agenda like right on the surface with everything Disney, everything being Disneyfied. And we'll definitely get to that because Strange World ties into this. And I have a rant that I'm going to be doing later in the show that I have a suggestion for Disney that's going to solve all their problems. It's going to solve all their problems. But with this show, it's generic. You see the agendas right there. The lead character Kit, it's a lesbian romance, sort of kicks the whole thing off. And my understanding intensifies. I have not seen episodes 2 and 3. Alan, you have. Can you give us a little bit of episodes 2 and 3?
Yeah, 2 and 3. I mean, essentially, it's the first episode sets up a quest. And 2 and 3 is basically the first stage of the quest. I believe the third episode is them ultimately finding Willow, because they need him to. Basically, Prince Eric has been kidnapped. They need to rescue him. and Willow is the only one who can really find him. And so that's, so there's this adventure. They're being chased by the bad guys, which is, honestly, the problem with this show is it's about a quest. There's no, it's about darkness. The enemy here is darkness. This is the same thing with Rings of Power. The enemy is darkness. What does that mean? What does that mean to us as characters, as people, as what does it say about humanity, which is what these movies are supposed to be about? No, it's just, we got to defeat darkness. All right. Who's going to help us? Willow. Great. And that's the series.
It's so it's almost like the Rings of Power in the sense of darkness is coming. Darkness is coming.
Yeah. Why should I fear the darkness? Why should, in Lord of the Rings, we understood the stakes. We understood what happens if darkness wins. Here, darkness is bad, and we can't let darkness take over. But we don't know why, other than it's bad.
I will say what was interesting is they didn't Luke Skywalker, like what they did to Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. They didn't really do that to Willow. Now, first of all, I actually really like Warwick Davis. Life's Too Short, that series we were discussing earlier. You can get it on HBO Max. What a great show. Warwick Davis basically playing himself.
I know.
And you mentioned that scene with Liam Neeson where they improv a scene.
Even the one with Johnny Depp. And
yeah, it's great.
That's so cringeworthy.
No, but it's awesome. It has that sort of Ricky Gervais, style, of comedy, of cringe, awkward comedy. I love it. But they don't, his character is different than he was in Willow, because in Willow he was he was just a little person who rose to the occasion, right? And now he's a full-blown wizard, right? Powerful wizard. And I like that. And they respect him. So yeah, based on that, it's like, okay, story-wise, this is not as bad as one would have thought. It's just so Disney. There's something about Disney everything that it's like they have a checklist and they go through the checklist. Okay, did we hit everything on the checklist? Okay, we're good. It's Disney, and then out the door, right? The main thing being, I'm really curious how people are going to react to the fact that the main character, Kit, is in a lesbian relationship with this woman, Jade. She doesn't want to marry the prince. In fact, she even has this outburst in the first episode where she's kind of rebuffed by Jade and I need to leave and go on an adventure. You do your little princess things, whatever you're going to do. And then she goes off and is like, fine, I'll marry this dude. And she gets all in her face, trying to make her jealous.
I will say a lot of that is played out in episode 5.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Yes.
Because you watched
again. I'm not allowed to talk about it, but it's there's a, I wouldn't say a payoff, but there is a development in that, in both of those things you talked about.
Okay, I haven't seen it. I already know where it's gonna go.
Yeah, and then also in the chat, we're not going to post these, but there's a question if a certain character shows up. That is the thing we're not allowed to talk about.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, we'll get to the chat.
The answer is obvious, but we're not allowed to talk about it.
Okay, we're gonna get to your chat questions and comments. We're gonna get to your chat questions and comments. But I want to make sure that we wrap up our feelings about this. I don't know that even after watching just the first episode that I would continue watching it. It's as bad as you think it is. And yet story-wise, it's this is genuinely, from a story standpoint, makes sense as a sequel to Willow. Mm-hmm. There is no Val Kilmer, but Val Kilmer is referenced. There's a montage at the opening kind of giving you the basic backstory of the Willow movie. Which the first the Willow movie was not even I remember was okay. Val Kilmer's character, what's his name? Mad Mardigan is the best part of that movie. Mm-hmm. He's Han Solo on steroids, and you'll not find that there. Although his son Eric has a lot of his attributes. He's kind of a womanizer, kind of like he sort of uses witticism to get out of every situation that he finds himself in. So
yeah, just to be clear, Kit and Eric are his kids.
Yes, Kit and Eric are his kids, and they're they kind of look like they really cast well, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah, let me give you my take on this.
Okay.
It's honestly, I've seen the first Willow. Honestly, I don't remember the first Willow a whole lot. The other thing is this is decidedly a Disney Channel show. It's not for us adults. It's for the younger set, and by the age of the fellowship, it clearly is for your preteen teen kids, and it feels like a Disney Channel show. If you've seen Descendants, if you've seen High School Musical, these type of shows, there you go. This is the quality of the story and the quality of the production values. Although I would say is definitely elevated than anything the Disney Channel's put out. And then the only other thing I've talked about how just inane the plot is. There's not really a story. There's just a quest. And then third, as much as I like Warwick Davis, his acting is standout bad in this series. I mean, literally, everyone is such a great actor next to Warwick Davis, and I hate saying this, but I just have to be blunt. The way he delivers dialogue is so monotone, so void of pitch that it just comes off as it just sounds like he's reading lines off the script. And there are pauses that feel like he's reading lines, having to take a breath at a weird spot, and then moving on. And this is the thing that annoyed me the most throughout this series. And I feel bad because, life's too short. Life is short. He's really good in that. I don't know why he's not good in this. I don't know if you felt that, but
well, no, I only saw the first episode.
He's not in it in the first episode.
No, he is in the first episode at the very end.
Oh, okay.
The very end, like he's sort of like they find him, right? Yeah. They find
watch the trailers, and you'll see exactly what I'm saying.
But it's weird because my expectations for this were very low, and while it didn't 100% suck, it was just bad. That almost exceeded my expectations. This is, but you hit the nail on the head. This is a Disney Plus. This is a Disney Channel show made for kids, and it's all the sort of cheapness that goes with that, where the effects, the quality of the effects really vary. There's some things like, oh, that's a cool creature design.
Yeah, and some of the wide shots are really good.
Yeah, and so some of where they're trying to show how vast the kingdom is or whatever, and then a lot of it is just stupid. So it's that, range and quality. So the range and quality is just all over the map. That thing where they ride their horses off a cliff is just dumb. It was so dumb. It's like right out of, it's like that scene in Last Jedi with, Princess Leia pulling herself Mary Poppins like back into the ship. That was just ridiculous. You just go like, what did I just watch? That was bad. So yeah, it's but this is why, and it's so funny with our thumbnail on this. It's like, it's just what you would expect, right? This is what you would, everything that we know about like what Disney Lucasfilm does. It's like you can predict the things that are not going to work about it. I was talking to Gary Beekler. I said, you could review this show without having seen it, say the things you think that you'll end up thinking, and then what you'll do is find out that you were correct, that almost everything you could predict about it is correct, because we know so much about how Disney goes about things, how much, how much Lucasfilm goes about things as well. And you could just predict how it's going to go. Yeah. So there you go. Willow, first 3 episodes. It's for kids. It's a Disney Channel show. And is it a worthy follow-up to Willow? I don't know that Willow was that. I remember seeing Willow when it first came out and thinking, that was okay.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one movie, so it's not like we can really complain about violating lore, because there wasn't a whole lot, and I don't think, I have to feel that there wasn't a great fan base for Willow, and a Willowverse or Willow conventions. I don't think those ever existed.
Right. Let's go to the chat here. We've got some super chats and chat comments and questions. The overview, Guardians Holiday Special wasn't half bad. One might even say it was good.
I like it.
I do plan to see it. We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it next Wednesday or Friday. Yeah, but I heard it was entertaining. It's, written by James Gunn. Kevin Bacon is in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and considering it's half an hour and it's a smaller budget compared to what he's been given, and it's a holiday. I think it fulfills the requirements for a holiday special.
Right.
And the fact that it really focuses on Drax and Mantis, and we see a lot more of both of their characters in this one.
Fear the Turtle 21 for 10. Film Threat stream leading into the U.S. versus England game, followed by college basketball, putting up the Christmas tree, and then a night of God of War Ragnarok. Today is a good day. Isn't it great? I got all my Christmas decorations up before. Got them all up even before Thanksgiving. So, wow, bravo to you, sir. That's awesome. I'm recording the U.S. versus England game. I have all the World Cup games on record. I have YouTube TV. I recommend it. It's sort of endless. You can just record as many things as possible. They don't put a limit on it. I can watch it on my phone out in public. Some of the other streaming services require you to be on the same Wi-Fi. It's like, no, I set it up, got my account. My family has my access to my account, and that's the one that I use. So thank you for that, Fear the Turtle 21. And enjoy the day. That's great. Solomon Thornton, they should reboot The Shadow, a classic film, in my opinion. Yeah. And thank you for the $2 super chat. Yeah, that would be another good reboot, classic reboot. Abigail, they've got a bit of sword envy, huh? That's true. And Tony Ravioli was in Grand Budapest, which is top 5 of the decade for me. Says Toxic Waltz N8. Yeah, he's good in this. He's good. It's a more serious character, but I thought he's a likable. I like him as an actor.
Yeah,
I think he's a good character in this. So there you go. Greasy Vavap says an estimated 3% of the world population identifies as gay, yet 33% plus of movie TV characters are gay. This is my problem.
Yeah.
Is there's an over representation. Representation is fine, but there is an over representation of gay characters in mainstream media. We're going to talk about it later when we talk about Strange World, which has the son in the film is gay, and he has a boyfriend that has sort of butterflies in his stomach about and doesn't know what to. We'll get into it. But yeah, it's this is a problem. I have a fix. I have a solution. Dude B, so Willow isn't in Willow. No, Willow is in Willow.
Willow's in Willow, yeah.
Yeah. Ariel Popperl says having the ginger from Falcon and the Winter Soldier was already a bad sign to me. Yeah, she's in it.
We shouldn't be blaming the actor for these roles. It's the material they're given. Moses Ingram as Reva. It's not Moses's fault. It's what she was given.
Right.
And the position that these stupid producers and movie makers, whatever, I can't blame the actor for this. It's not like she's not a charismatic person. It's just these roles.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think she's fine as an actress. But yeah, she I don't know. I don't think she's a star. It's definitely not a star, but these actors cannot be blamed. They work with the material they're given. They rarely have input into the script unless your name is Harrison Ford. Then maybe you get some input. The Glackener, Alan is so right. We are so used to mediocrity now. Quite sad, really. That's what's interesting is like we're just used to just like, oh, good enough for streaming. That was okay. None of this stuff stands out. And there was an interesting story that came out recently about how for like the Disney Plus Marvel shows, they go out of their way to not hire fans of the original source material from the comics, which I think is a huge, huge mistake. Huge mistake. Like, wouldn't you want someone who knows the comics? And also by that standard, you would never have hired James Gunn. James Gunn knows the Guardians of the Galaxy's comics backwards and forwards. He knows many runs and many obscure characters of both DC and Marvel.
Yeah, Suicide Squad. I mean, who knew about Polka Dot Man and how good a character he could be?
That's what's great about, like, I feel like hire more James Gunn and less activists.
Yeah, these things were popular for a reason. And it has more to do with the story than it does, the characters themselves.
Now, I do think it's important to hire someone who not only has comic book knowledge, but knowledge of classic literature, knowledge of classic pop culture, classic television and movies. You need to have a breadth of knowledge in order to work in the field. You need to know what came before, and you need to know the source material. I think that's important if you're going to bring something to the character, because what they're not bringing is love. And there has not been a Disney Plus series that has not tanked. I think that every single one of those series has been a disappointment, and it almost feels like homework. Like, well, I need to see this in order to understand Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. No, I shouldn't have to. And it's really just, I think there's a reason that these Disney Plus Marvel shows feel so hollow.
Yeah.
And I guess Willow, you could say Willow is hollow. It's just, it is sort of a hollow. It's like a shell of.
Well, there's no depth to it. There's no depth to this story.
Zero depth to it.
It's all about the narrative and pushing the plot along.
Yeah.
The only reason Disney Plus exists for me is its catalog. It's back catalog. To go back to the stuff that was good, and I can watch it anytime I want. I think I've watched more National Geographic than I have Disney, anything off the Disney site.
Yeah. Let's continue here with your comments here. Just got about 10 more to go through. Old Bitter Craig, zero interest in Willow, and I loved the movie in theaters, owned on VHS, and still call female RPG characters Sorsha. Oh, that's great. You may want to check it out just to see, like, here's where the characters are. At least I think respect is given to the title character, Willow. Mm-hmm. He's a powerful wizard. That's cool. But you were right about his acting. It's just not, there's no gravitas to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think where life's too short, or is it like?
Yeah, life's too short. No, it's life's too short. Life's too short.
The reason that worked is he was playing himself. He was natural in playing and being himself, and that's why that acting comes across so much better than playing a fictional character.
Right. Kung Fu Hot Dog for €5. Pounds. Happy Thanksgiving, Chris and Alan. Your channel kicks ass. Gary made the call to arms, and I already joined the cause against the desecration of pop culture. Yeah, well, we appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're love having these conversations with you, and I love that we found, an audience that's as passionate as both Alan and I are. So thank you for that. And also, there's over 800 people watching now. Please smash that like button, and it helps the channel and the videos get recommended. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, we are 53,000 subs now. Thanks to you. 53,000.
69.
59,000. It's 59,000.
69.
59.
69.
All right, fine. That's
great.
Just subscribe to the channel. Oh, wow. There you go. Continuing with the comments, Solomon Thornton says, that's the problem with Disney. They want to, but IP, they want to buy, do you say?
Yeah, probably buy IP.
They want to buy the IP, and they want to be faithful to the source material, but will bait and switch and put their own agenda.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they've done. I mean, the show is not about Willow. It's about Kit and her love interest in another woman character named Jade. So there you go. Grinnerin Masters, fun fact, just because a film has the legal right to print the name of a beloved story does not mean its current owners understand the nature of it. Art has an essence beyond the name. I think once you detach from the original creator of any source material, the further away you go from that, the more soulless and hollow the material becomes. That is why, Star Trek under Gene Roddenberry, right? He was obviously he created the original Star Trek series in the 1960s, 1966, a golden era of television for that sort of short-lived time in the late 60s, mid to late 60s. Then Gene Roddenberry was involved in the first Star Trek the motion picture. He was involved to a degree as a consultant in all the movies, and then he was involved very closely with the development of Star Trek the Next Generation and adding some ideas that he didn't get to include in the original Star Trek series. But the further you got away from Gene Roddenberry and his spirit, the less interesting Star Trek became. Same thing, I think, with Star Wars. As we saw George Lucas, people complained about George Lucas in the prequels. Now you look back on the prequels and it's Shakespeare.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I think
in comparison.
Disney's Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I mean, they got the narrative plot points down in this movie, but they missed the heart of C.S. Lewis.
Right.
And I think ultimately that's why that movie failed.
Yeah, but you're right. Art has an essence, and I really think it's once you get beyond the original creator, it's fanfic. It's just fanfic. Not the Batman. I bet all the different races in Disney Willow love each other now, too. Remember, everyone hated brownies? The humans were called dakinis. That's not in the first episode that I saw. Does that come into play, Alan?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think if I remember them ever saying dakinis.
Well, there's no real strife.
Brownies.
At least what I saw in the first episode, there's no strife between sort of races. It's just the bad people.
Yeah, the darkness.
The darkness. So make of that what you will. Toxic Waltz N8 says, I'm looking forward to the articles over the next 2 weeks about how racist, sexist, and homophobic we are for not watching or enjoying the series. Yeah, there will definitely 100% be articles that you're homophobic if you don't like Willow. That's coming. Ramina Jones, I liked Willow too when I saw it as a kid in the theater, but it was a box office bomb and poorly reviewed at the time. That's right. Directed by Ron Howard. Ron Howard and George Lucas collaborating. It was sort of his take on a fantasy world. And I remember thinking it was just okay. That was all right. My expectations were a little higher. You know, I would have rather seen more Star Wars movies. But so they're taking a property that wasn't highly regarded anyways. And so I guess doing anything to it might be considered an improvement. And this is weird. It's for the kids. Lesbian kiss in the first episode. Walt is spinning in his grave, says Robert.
I'm just saying the quality of the series ranks with Disney Channel type film. It's content.
Yeah, it's like Disney Channel. Like there's almost a feel and a vibe to it. Like this looks like it was shot on a set, that they went outdoors for this to get that wide shot, but everything else is against a green screen, you know, that kind of thing. Although it feels like they did shoot more in natural environments in this than other things we've seen. Yeah,
like this scene here in the background, definitely in the.
But yeah, I don't. If my kids were of a certain age, single-digit age, they would not be watching this show. Okay, so make of that what you will. Goof R35 says, considering that Willow was a Hobbit knockoff by Lucas, but the series sounds lame without Lucas's creativity. Yeah, it is. I'd say that might be the best way to describe it. It's kind of lame. And then Sean Z Construct for $4.99, who's a member. Sean Z, always great to hear from you. Check out Alan's interview on Sean Z's channel. My old acting coach told us not to turn down a role, even if you're desperate. Easier said than done, of course, but hopefully good stories come back. Certainly as an actor, you know you've reached a good place in your career, let's say, if you have the luxury of turning down roles. Normally you'd be, well matched, right? Like as an actor. My advice to every actor that I've ever met that has asked for advice, I always say, become a producer. Because then you can produce material that speaks to your strengths and speaks to your passions. So if you're an actor, produce. Look for scripts and look for material that basically, speaks to your strengths. Mm-hmm. Tom Cruise is a producer. He produces movies that basically speak to what he is good at or things that he'd like to do. And
he has 100% control over how he appears in a movie.
Do you know that he's going to the International Space Station and spending like several weeks up there to shoot for a movie?
Yeah, for Mission Impossible.
Yeah. How crazy that they're actually doing it. Like you know what? You can't. Tom Cruise better be nominated for Oscars this season if they want anyone to even watch that god awful show. It's such a terrible show now. But look, I would say that the bottom line on, and thank you all for your comments, super chats, and the members appreciate that. Appreciate your support. Bottom line on Willow, Alan, you've seen like the first 7 episodes.
Yeah, for 6. I haven't
6.
Yeah, you know, this is probably the last we'll ever talk about Willow. So, yeah, I mean, we've summed up here. It's not for us. It's for our preteen, young teen children. That's the audience it's meant for. You're not going to find anything extraordinary about it. Something that there's no pearls to dig for, or there's it is what it is. It's they're just reviving a intellectual property, putting it on Disney Plus, and it's time for us to move on.
Couple quick comments here before we move on to Strange World review. Ethan Snyder, these activists flat out say they can't educate children in LGBTQ plus identity politics without exposing them to innately sexual material. This is pretty, whatever you consider sexual about Willow, it's very fairy tale. I mean, there's a kiss. I'm sure there's more kisses to come, but that's it. I don't think that they're not going to go full Game of Thrones. They're not, I don't expect to see any nudity in Willow, but yes, that is what you're saying, Ethan, is flat out wrong. Children, I don't believe anyone under the age of 18 should be on social media. I think kids, you want to make sure that kids are not exposed to sexual material at a young age. You want to, and it's unfortunate, they have friends maybe who get cell phones when they shouldn't. I don't think kids should get cell phones. There should be like a stripped down limited version of a cell phone that does like the basic things, but will not allow internet access. Right. I don't know why that's not like, to me, that's when they lowered the age of social media that like any kid can be on TikTok, any kid can be on Instagram. I think that's when you saw like mental illness rise, was because of that.
Well, it's also an easier way for the bad actors to get access to your children under your nose.
And that's one of the things.
Certainly, yeah. Watch the documentary. We interviewed the director, but it's called Sextortion, and it just outlines just how these bad actors are getting to your children, and how it basically became rampant during COVID when everyone was locked down.
Right. John Mealwald says, even back in the day, the most popular actors formed their own production company, United Artists. Yeah, I would say that, like, look, get together with a bunch of actors, you form a production company, and you develop scripts, and then you get those movies produced, meaning you raise the money and you put together the production. And here you go. Len Barnett, we had the Benny Hill show when I was a child. I loved Benny Hill. It's slapstick comedy. I love it. I watched that when I was a teenager, along with Monty Python. And that was innocent. I'm trying to remember. I mean, there were large-breasted women in Benny Hill, but were they topless? I don't remember.
No, they weren't. There's no nudity in Benny Hill.
There's no nudity in Benny Hill.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have been able to see it if there was.
Right. It was on PBS. I watched Monty Python, Benny Hill, and Doctor Who. Loved that stuff as a kid. All right.
A lot of nudity in Doctor Who, by the way.
All right. Let's pivot. Let's talk about this new film that is now. Give me a minute. Alan, I want to hear your thoughts, because you and I texted you.
Yeah.
I texted you and you were in a theater watching Strange World.
Yeah, you're texting me while I was watching Strange World. You were interrupting my enjoyment of Strange World with your texts. And I was grateful that you were texting me often.
Well, I appreciate, first of all, you read my text while the movie was on. So that's on you. That's on you. I would have told you, turn off your phone.
So I can concentrate on the plot and story of Strange World.
So no, but wait, we both had a miserable Thanksgiving, and then we both went to see Strange World, and the mood was not fixed. That did not. I did not feel uplifted from seeing Strange World. But Alan, why don't you give us your review and give us a little bit about the story that we couldn't have gleaned from the trailers?
So the story basically is that there's this valley called Avalonia, and it's surrounded by these mountains that are just too tall to be able to climb them. And one of the intrepid citizens, his name is Jaeger Clade, played by Dennis Quaid. His mission in life is to see what's beyond these mountains, and his goal in life is to see that there's a bigger world out there than Avalonia. And so he takes his son, Searcher, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. They go out on an expedition. And while on that expedition, Searcher finds these plants that seem to have power in them, electrical power in it. And being the kind of the botanist explorer that he is, he's much more Searcher is much more interested in this plant than he is about exploring. And it's at this point where Jaeger says, "Well, I want to find out what's beyond." He leaves the group and he disappears forever. And then Searcher takes this plant and creates a power source for his village to live in. And they create this kind of utopia world. And what happens then is this plant that provides all the power is diseased. It's dying. And if they don't find the cure to find out what's happening, they're going to be without power. And so they need to go dig down into the center of the earth and try to heal the plant. And he goes with his son, who we find out early has a boyfriend that he's a boy that he's interested in, and then he has a small crew, and they go off to go on this adventure. And of course, during this adventure, they find Jaeger, and now we have stories. We have a story of father, son, and grandson. So 3 generations of men who have a hard time relating to one another, and that's essentially what the story is. My initial thought is it's boring. It's there's nothing to grasp onto. And let me point out something that happens in the middle of the movie. In the middle of the movie, the Jaeger, Searcher, and their son Ethan, they're playing a board game. And during that board game, the board game is about trying to build a better society. Searcher and Jaeger want to defeat bad guys. And they get into this thing about how, not all stories need villains. Oh yeah, we need villains to tell good stories, or villains make great storytelling. And so they're mocking this idea that every story needs to have a villain, which only proves the point that this story doesn't work because it doesn't have a villain. All they're doing is going on this quest, just like Willow. They go on a quest, they try to figure out what's wrong, and they learn something about themselves. And that's the nature of this movie. The third thing that makes this movie fail is that good stories, you need to be able to connect with the story. You need to be able to feel comfortable, you need to feel like this is a real place. It's like in my improv troupe, when someone enters the stage and says, "I'm an alien," you kind of break that connection with the audience. They don't know what aliens are. And so they go to this strange world. We know nothing about this strange world. All we know is it looks weird. It does weird things, and there's weird creatures. But there's nothing about this world that makes me want to say, it's not Pandora by any means. Nothing about this world that makes me want to explore it more. There's this threat, but the problem is these threats, they're all, cute animals with curved shapes when they need to be sharp and pointed to feel a threat. And that, yeah, they're dangerous creatures, but we never see these creatures. We never see the danger. We never see a creature grab someone and devour them or tear them apart, so there's no, so all this does is it makes a very boring, bland story about something as high stakes as fathers and sons. And that's ultimately why this movie fails. I think it's ultimately why this movie is not being promoted by Disney. Because I told my wife I was going to see this movie and she didn't even know it was out. And I think Disney has given up on this, and rightfully so. They at least recognize the fact that they had a clunker here.
Well, let's continue. I need to let you know a couple of my thoughts on this. This is one of the worst things that Disney has ever produced as a studio. Uh, I think I think maybe it sounded good as a pitch,
Mm-hmm.
but the script and the story for this feels like if you follow the teachers that you encounter on libs of TikTok, you know, those sort of self-righteous teachers that want to create safe spaces for their students and are all proud of that, and they all have like pink or blue hair and piercings in various places and whatnot, and that's you know, that's fine. I'm just saying, when you see those kinds of teachers and the you know, very very liberal ideas that they want to push on kids, it's like a teacher that was featured on libs of TikTok wrote the script for Strange World. It you know, everything about it, where it takes shots at toxic masculinity, it takes shots at movies that feature a villain. It includes, I mean, from the opening, when we finally get, you know, when what the character played by Jake Gyllenhaal, his
Searcher.
character Searcher Clade, when they get to like him and his farm, right? It's like you meet their dog, and their dog is missing. It's missing an arm, so it's a disabled dog. You have the mixed race couple. Searcher Clade is married to Meridian Clade. They're, you know, he's white, she's black. They have a mixed race son, Ethan Clade. Then they go into town, and there's immediately, you see a character in a wheelchair. This is all of this happens like after this initial adventure with Jaeger Clade. They go to the farm, and all of this stuff happens. They might as well have just put rainbows and things. Then you see Ethan Clade talking about the boy. He's all shy, and they meet him, and he has like frosted hair. He also is wearing like this colorful sweatshirt that I don't know which flag's colors it is, but I'm sure it's a certain flag's colors. And he's just all nervous about the boy he likes. It's like I say, it's like a libs of TikTok teacher wrote the story. It's god awful. I sat in a theater, and there was a family of four watching it, right? And it was mother, father, son, and daughter. They were utterly bored. The kids were probably 9 or 10 years old. Were just playing. They just got bored. The movie's over 90, but it's like an hour 45 or something like that. Is it hour 4?
Oh, I got to tell you mine. Sitting behind me was probably a 4 or 5 year old kid. He was talking constantly throughout the movie, and I was so glad he was talking constantly throughout the movie. It made the experience so much better. And then when the gay scenes came up, I couldn't hear what he was saying, but the father was kind of talking to his son over it, so that he wasn't necessarily being exposed to it at that time.
Well, wait, so the father in the movie theater was kind of talking over to kind of like mask the scenes.
Yeah.
Probably unaware that there was gay content in a film for children.
I think he was. I think he was prepared to do that. But it was the three of us. That's who was in the movie theater at that time.
Well, I'm going to talk about this later. I have a lot of thoughts about that, but it's a terrible movie. So I'm in a theater with like 10 people, you know, Thanksgiving night, 10 people in the theater. Not one time did the audience laugh. Not one time did they, you know, say awe in wonder, right? And this whole like look of Strange World, it was like dollar store Dr. Seuss. It was just bad. So, they're obviously going for like Dr. Seuss weirdness. It's colorful. It's oddly shaped. It's a mountain, but it's a pair of walking legs. None of it made sense whatsoever. And there's a reveal at the end. I don't know if we should talk about it. I don't know if
the environmental message, is that what you're talking about?
The environmental message, which, God, is there any, I'd love to see a movie that has an anti-environmental message. Or like maybe we're kind of pivoting too quickly and crippling our economy and crippling the middle and lower class by making vast changes in our energy policy. Like I should.
No
Hollywood movie is gonna like have a
whole other podcast.
Yeah, I even hate like having a comment on stuff like that because like I'd rather that we're
Yeah.
just talking about solid movie stuff. We're not talking about, you know, this
Yeah.
kind of thing. But
But,
look,
when it happened, it's like, oh, there we go. We
there's the
there we go. The third, the third leg. Whatever.
all I can say is this: everybody who worked on this felt like they were doing something so important. They were doing an important thing. We're not just making a movie, we're saving lives. We're saving lives. We're saving young children who are confused about their sexuality. We're saving the environment. We're talking about toxic masculinity, which this movie attacks on multiple occasions. It kind of has it both ways. It attacks it on multiple occasions while actually Jaeger Clade was my favorite character.
Yeah.
In a movie I really just didn't like anybody. He's like the manly, he was like Indiana Jones, like, no, we're just gonna go kick ass. That's just how we do it, right? And this movie just basically, it was like it was mocking all the movies that we enjoyed that feature that kind of thing.
You're saying the most masculine character was your favorite character.
The most masculine character was my
that's
favorite
pretty
character.
misogynistic there.
Yeah, exactly. Just me liking it is hate speech.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People
but
are asking about spoiling. Let's just say that the plant that provides power, well, you can almost extrapolate the environmental message with that.
Well, okay, so we can spoil it. Is the chat? Look, we're gonna give. Do we have our spoiler? We have a spoiler thing
because it's not like, yeah, it's. I mean, it's such a weak point that was made.
Well, look, let's just put it up there. We're going to talk spoilers for Strange World. So the energy plant that they've been harvesting is actually could be considered a form of cancer because the thing that they're on is a living thing. There's a scene where they go through this big chasm and go to the other side of the mountain, and they finally get far enough away to see that it's a giant eye. It's an eye the size of a skyscraper. They can't even see what this thing is, but they see a giant eye, and they're effectively some microscopic germ is what the people are in this world, this idyllic, perfect world where everybody gets along, and the president is a woman of color, and it's like I say, it's like the script was written by a Libs of TikTok teacher. That's what this movie really is. But what you come to find out at the very end of the film is they kind of pull back, and it's a giant turtle on a planet. It doesn't really quite say that it's planet Earth.
No, the picture at the end
can you tell it's Earth? I don't know that you can tell.
I think ultimately that's what they were going for, but it's the idea of the planet being a living thing. The planet, the Earth, is a living thing, and that these sources of energy that we are so beholden to and dig for and drill for is killing the living planet.
Right.
That's essentially the message that they're bringing across here, and that it's better to give up the modern conveniences of power and energy in order to save the planet.
Yeah, it's as cringe as it sounds. It's just as cringe as it sounds, and it's so I'm sitting there and I'm like, is anyone enjoying this? I'm not the target audience for it, but I used to take my kids to every Disney movie. I took them to see, Lion King and Aladdin and name a Disney movie from the 90s. Took my kids. We looked forward to it. Mm-hmm. And now I hate to say Disney cannot be trusted. Disney cannot be trusted with children. They cannot. And this movie is, if you need any more proof, this movie. So now really,
yeah. I mean, it's this idea that they fully believe parents are wrong and don't know better, and that we're here to do to do your job, basically.
Yeah, it's and it's horrific that people have the ego and the sort of narcissism and the hubris to feel that's their responsibility now is to impart wisdom to your kids rather than your basic. And there's a reason that fairy tales have existed for as long as they have, because they resonate in our lizard brain. They just do. There's something about it that transcends generations, where we're telling the same stories for centuries. We've been telling the same stories. and this, what Disney's doing in pivoting so hard, they're trying to break that script, and I don't think it's resonating with audiences. Someone pointed out the box office. I guess on preview night, the movie made which was like the Tuesday, it made like $800,000.
Yeah.
It's set to underperform. Encanto last year on Thanksgiving weekend 2021 made a little over $40 million. This is set to do like around 20. And that's the cumulative, starting of a holiday weekend, which is half of Encanto.
Yeah, but Encanto is a good movie. I think they're like Brother Bear is outperforming.
Right, Brother Bear. Let's go to the comments. Have you been starring some comments, Alan?
Yes, yeah.
All right, let's get to some comments. I see a super chat there. Let's get that in there. Did you get that one, Alan?
The super chat, it should be.
Okay, cool.
1999, is that what it is?
Is it 1999 or is it another?
Oh, 69.
All right, it's
actually, I don't have it starred, and I'm trying to find it.
I got it. It's 1999.
69.
It's 1999.
69.
Come on, let's get to the. I did a terrible thing the other day. I actually read, not chat, I read the comments on some of our videos. And I replied to a bunch of them. And I found out that I uptalk.
What is that?
Whatever that is. I don't know. I have a certain cadence in my voice that annoyed somebody. I can see that because I talk too much. So yeah. So all right, let's go through these comments now in Strange World. I cannot recommend this movie. Not even like if I have to rate it out of 10, I would give it a 1 out of 10. And I recommend against seeing it. Against seeing the film. Like, I would go out of your way to not see this movie. It's an embarrassment. Someone at Disney needs to start to look at this stuff more carefully. People in power, the new management CEO, Bob Iger, needs to look at this and say, our audiences, is this resonating with audiences? I don't think it is. Yeah,
I mean, I mentioned it before, but I mean, economics should come to play here. Alienating a vast majority of your fans, your loyal fans from decades. You think by removing those dollars from the movie revenue that this will take is going to be enough to cover it? It's misguided. It's absolutely misguided. Used to be that these companies wanted to make money so that they can make a lot of money and make more of this stuff. And they just don't care. Yeah. They don't fear failure.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. It's weird. Let's go to your comments and questions here. Thank you. Where was that? Okay, cool. Oh yeah. For $5, I'm a straight Hispanic male. I remember a time when I watched The Birdcage and related with Nathan Lane to By Myself regardless of gender or sexuality. Yeah, there's like, you really need to, you need to be able to relate to a character, and their sexuality should have nothing to do with it. But when their defining characteristic is their sexuality, then there's really not many places to go. But thank you for that. Oh, yeah. Jen for 1999. Can we blame Iger? Well, you might blame Iger for this reason, because this movie cost $180 million, Alan. $180 million for this. It is not going to it's not going to make its money back. It's going to.
I don't understand how a movie like this can cost that much.
Exactly. Is it the character?
I mean, I can understand if it was hand-drawn animation that maybe $100 million. But how is it that a computer-generated film like this is almost $200 million?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Is it the actors? I mean, it's got Dennis Quaid and Jake Gyllenhaal, and
yeah, or maybe the environment at Disney Animation was like former Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna guess a lot of people you don't need that another company could have made. RRR was made for $75 million. $75 million. So yeah, I think you could blame Iger for this. This movie had to be years in the making. They didn't just start working on this movie when Bob Chapek took over 2 years ago. So this movie has been in development, and yes, you can blame Iger for this. This is Iger. Everyone thinks Iger is going to come in and he's going to fix everything. I disagree. I think it's going to be more of the same or worse.
Well, I think it was also Iger's fault for not going to bat for John Lasseter.
Yes. When they threw John Lasseter under the bus, huge mistake. It sent a message that if the activists apply pressure, you bow to the will of the activists. And I say, no. Tetsu Sama for 2 of something. I came here for Chris, but I stayed for Alan. Well, that's good. I love Alan. He does. He's does a great. I like his opinion. Differs from mine often.
By the way, it's Swiss francs.
Swiss francs. Oh well, thank you for that.
Yeah, I don't know how we're supposed to figure that out from the initials there.
Seriously, Black 7 says Strange World is a freaking IKEA chair. Shucksy says, I'm with Chris. I want to see a movie with anti-environmental messages. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be the Fast and the Furious?
Yeah, it would. Or maybe
I think Top Gun. I think Top Gun is pretty anti-environmental.
I mean, I don't know. I love the Road Warrior or Mad Max 2. The stuff in there is great. And what's interesting is Mad Max 2, the Road Warrior, right? There's a character in that movie who's handicapped, who should be in a wheelchair, who has his legs are disabled. He's the mechanic. He's just called the mechanic. And he comes in and he's got like this, headband, and he's covered in grease. He's got tools, and rather than having a wheelchair, he's sort of hanging from the suspension thing that he rolls around in and works on cars. And no mention of him being handicapped. He just is handicapped. And it's like, he's an interesting character, but his attribute that's interesting is the fact that he's a mechanic and a very passionate mechanic. And he just, just happens to be disabled. But in Strange World, they make it a point. Do you remember, Alan, beginning of the movie? They make it a point like, and there's someone in a wheelchair, and the dog is missing an arm, or the front paw or whatever. It's just so like I say, a Libs of TikTok teacher wrote the script.
Yeah, I also hate to say it, but if you really think about it, if you live in a valley that's maybe 100 square miles, you wouldn't find diversity, genetic diversity in a society like that.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Ms. Rob says, yes, nailed it, Chris. Disney cannot be trusted with children anymore. I'm going to get to my rant about that once I get through your comments. B Sparks 917. It almost seems like Disney wanted this movie to fail. It's a strange world we live in now. In a way, it's like maybe they wanted it to fail to go like, look, here's proof is in the pudding. If we're a data-driven company and we live and die by data, which is, box office, oh, wow. Let's see. Salty Fox for $50. Hey. Wow. Thank you for that. It's frustrating that Disney will make a movie like Disenchanted that I adored. It reminded me of all the fairy tales I loved as a 90s girl and should have been the Thanksgiving holiday release. Then they make Strange World disappointing. Well, thank you, Salty Fox, for 50. That is incredibly generous. We appreciate that. But yeah, there's a lot of things now where I question the logic of, well, why did this get a theatrical release and this go to streaming? Why? Like, what are the reasons for that? I don't understand. Someone sat down and looked at the math and said, if we spend $30 million promoting this movie, it'll make it back at the box office and then on streaming. Or this movie, no, just keep it streaming only.
Yeah, I find it interesting that this came out in theaters, but there is virtually no marketing behind it.
Yeah.
So they certainly did not spend it on that. And maybe there's a feeling that this movie is so bad that as long as it makes something, we'll be happy. Right. But it is again just sad at the state of Disney at this point.
Well, thank you, Salty Fox, for that. I really appreciate it. B Sparks 917. Oh yeah, I got that one. Sorry about that. Seth Flick said there's nothing wrong with two people finding love who are of different races, but then again, it's overly represented. Yeah, exactly. Like, I was reading a statistic the other day. They were talking about mixed race couples in commercials, and nearly 100% of television commercials, I don't care what they're advertising, every single couple is mixed race. It's not real. Now, yes, mixed race couples exist. In fact,
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
100%. Alan and I both are in whatever mixed race couple relationships. Both Alan and I. So
Yeah,
you're
my
looking at
wife
100.
is. My wife
Yeah,
is white. Yeah.
yeah. My girlfriend is Chinese, so it's it's so yes, it's real. I think audiences are used to it, but the fact that it seems to be shoved down people's throats in every single thing, what happens is it stands out where you're like, oh, wait a sec, is that just a black family? Like,
Yeah.
like a
Well,
black
it's
mom and a black dad? Like, wow, when do you
yeah.
ever see a black family? Like, just a black family? Yes.
What's that
Crazy.
idea of cognitive dissonance? When I grew up in LA. We're a very culturally diverse city, but when but walking down the street, going to certain places, you expect a certain percentages of mixed race, of these.
Alan, I think I lost you. Oh man, you may have to come back. Alan, if you can hear me, maybe reboot your internet. I'm going to go through these comments. You were saying something really profound. You were saying something really profound, which is usually a cue for me to play a video. But I think I've been playing the Alan videos, a little too much. So I'm going to pull back on that. Bear Down Adam, who's a member, says, saw it yesterday with my 6-year-old. The visuals were great, but the script was embarrassingly bad. Absolutely no connection to the characters. And I agree with Alan that we never see the danger. True. And Kanto and Turning Red got praised for not having a true villain. It's an annoying trend for bad storytellers, says Abigail. Alan's just gone. Alan's just gone. Dude B says if they made Terminator today, they'd make a point of telling us the killer robot's sexual preference. True. Toxic Waltz N8, there's no quality family content in theaters. Bad Guys played until October, came out in April, and Lyle Crocodile flopped in October, yet still occupies the screen. I actually really liked Bad Guys. I thought Bad Guys was fun. It was a heist movie with animals. Baron Duke Monarch the Fifth, you are the villain. True. Goof R35 sounds like they are missing the Lorax. Well, it does actually have a look of it's sort of like I said, dollar store Dr. Seuss. CD Stein 69, good to have you here. So sounds like yet another eco agenda mixed with LGB plus family tolerance agenda added in. Yep, it is. Did they make something worse than Turning Red, says Abigail. I don't know because I never saw Turning Red. I just realized, oh, that movie's not for me. My daughter is an adult. And so, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Bad Guys was Ocean's 11 for kids. It was. And I quite enjoyed it. So, yeah. Ding Fuking Dong says, I want to see a company risk making Conan with a super buffed up woman as Conan. Yeah, maybe. Wasn't that Red Sonja effectively? Here you go. A super chat here from call sign Alucard for $4.99. They are not afraid to lose money because I think they get huge tax benefits, deductions for the company as a whole. Well, there was the money that came from the CARES Act, right? Which basically absolved companies. You got a chunk of money that you didn't have to pay back. So there you go. And Midnight Movie Talk with Eric Weber he's laughing, well, crying here at my review. You need to see Strange World, Eric. You need to see Strange World. Alan is just gone, folks. I don't know. I'm gonna text him. Says my internet is down. I can log in on my phone, but I'm gonna get Alan back. We're gonna get Alan back. Here we go. Alan will be back, but he'll be on his phone. So there you go. Subscribe to Midnight Movie Talk with Eric Weber. He covers box office, awards movies. He is the head of the Sunset Circle Awards, which I am a part of. It's an organization that Eric Weber heads up, and it's I don't know. He picks movies that I think are not the obvious choices. They're the very obvious choices, like The Fabelmans. The Fabelmans is gonna be nominated for a lot of things. Is it gonna win? We'll see. But yeah, and Goober says CG abs. Yeah. Eric Weber has a really great segment on his show where, because he's super buffed and jacked out, going to like the gym constantly. Every time I talk to Eric, well, I'm going to go to the gym and then I'm going to go see a movie. All right, Eric, you don't need to. Eric likes to give me the play-by-play of everything that's going on. I'm going to park in this place and then I'm going to walk there. I'm going to grab a quick bite. Then I'll meet you at. I don't need the play-by-play, Eric. What time are you going to meet us? Cool. So yeah, Flo says get Eric Weber in the stream. I could. I'll send him the link. I'll send Eric the link. Where's Eric? Here. All right. If you want to join Eric, you can join. But first, before I get them in there, get Eric and Alan in here, what I need to do is quick rant here. So Strange World, strongly disrecommend. I do not recommend seeing this movie. Do not recommend Strange World at all. And definitely if you have young kids, they'll be bored. And even if you have teenagers, they'll probably just make fun of it. Here are my thoughts. I'm going to get Alan on the stream here. Alan, you're back. Alan, can you hear me? Alan. The internet's terrible, man. Might have to. All right, I'm gonna remove you just for a second, but the internet's. You're muted. You got to allow microphone. All right, we're just gonna let's just. I'll bring you back, Alan. I'll bring you back. I hope you can hear me. All right. I have a solution to all of this nonsense. I have a solution to all of Disney's problems, to all the problems that they're facing right now. Okay. And I need to tell you about this, and I want to get your thoughts on this. A freaking IKEA chair. We have seen Disney include a not-so-secret gay agenda in a lot of their programming. The last 3 Disney films that I've seen, or Disney properties that I've seen, Wakanda Forever, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, features a lesbian couple. Willow is all about a princess and her love for another woman, and playing on Disney Plus. And now Strange World, an animated feature from Disney, features a gay character, a young boy who has affection for another young boy. This is not so secret anymore that Disney is taking its broad mainstream content made for the mass population and including gay storylines. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But I feel like they would be far more successful, because what it's doing is it's turning off a certain percentage of the audience that really don't want their kids, say single-digit age children, exposed to any sort of content like that. I have a solution for this. I have a solution. What Disney needs to do, Disney needs to go full gay on a completely spin-off brand, and they could call it Disney Sparkle. And Disney Sparkle is specifically gay storytelling for toddlers, gay storytelling for single-digit age kids, gay stories and shows and animated series for gay teenagers. Disney's got to go full gay. Just do it. And there is nothing wrong with that. But what you do is you brand it a separate entertainment and you call it Disney Sparkle, and it is all gay content, full gay. You can go even more gay than we've seen so far. So rather than shoehorning in and queer baiting and throwing gay characters into more broad mainstream shows and TV and movies, consider a complete offshoot brand of gay content where it is just fully, you know what you're getting. Because I kind of feel sometimes when I go to see something Disney, like I ordered a cheeseburger and somebody delivered spaghetti to the table. It's a bait and switch. And I think audiences are tired of it. It's why it's you're giving them something that they didn't ask for and you're pushing it. What they could do if they created Disney Sparkle as its own, you already got it, the rainbow logo, Disney Sparkle, princess whatever. The princesses are little boys. The princesses are they're getting it on with other princesses. Go full gay. And just put all that content there. And then you see how successful it is. Because I've argued this just as someone who's covered independent films since the 80s. Gay content has always been around, but it was always considered what you call limited market. It was a limited market for that. You know, it's movies that would open in 2 theaters, you know, New York and Los Angeles. It would open in what they called limited release. You know, and then it would be at the art market, right? And look, there are gay streaming services. There's a full lesbian, and I don't know the name of it. My apologies. There is a gay made for lesbians. It's all lesbian content made for lesbians, lesbian TV shows. There is and I think it may be called Chick Flicks, spelled Filix. I just don't know why Disney doesn't decide to spin off another completely different brand, call it Disney Sparkle, and go full gay. Now I want to see your comments here. Alan, what do you think of my proposal?
I mean, you know, you're saying it to prove a point, you know, that they severely underestimate the market for gay content.
No, they overestimate the market. They think the market for gay content is this, and it's really like this. And so what you do is you know, look, having covered this stuff for years, doing Film Threat in the 80s and the 90s, this isn't new. Like, none of this stuff is new to me. What's new is that these concepts and ideas are being put into mainstream intellectual property and sort of big mainstream entertainment targeting children. That is new. Yeah. And I'm not sure, just as a parent, like how down I am with that. And really, we've gotten to the point where Disney can't be trusted. Disney cannot be trusted with your kids. They just can't. So what you want to do is spin off a gay brand, start a whole new division. Everyone who works there is gay, and they make gay cartoons and gay TV shows and gay movies to be released in theaters. But what you might consider doing is scaling the budget for the marketplace. This is why Bros failed. Bros failed because it overestimated the market that would be interested in seeing a gay-themed romantic comedy, which is already a very limited market. So, you know, I don't know what to say except try this experiment and see if Disney Sparkle. Does everyone like the name Disney Sparkle? Alan's not been in the comments here. I got to go to your comments. I am so sorry, folks. We have no producer working with us today. I will.
Yeah, and now I have 0. I can't even start things now.
You can't start things. I'm just going to do. FP Sunny says, "Lady and the Carpet Muncher." Who would not watch that? Who would not take their 4-year-old to Lady and the Carpet Muncher? CVA says, so in conclusion, gaynomics fails. No, I don't think it does. I think that is incorrect. You need to scale it. Just having produced films, you kind of scale it for what you think the market that's there, right? So you look at, like, okay, knowing that the market, and there have been estimates everywhere from 3% of the population to 10% of the population is gay. That's identifies as some form of LGBTQ. I can't go beyond. Yeah.
I hate to say it, but of the gay friends I have, I don't know that they're into gay content either.
That's what's so
I
funny
don't
is
know that. Yeah, I don't know that they were avid watchers of Logo. But is Logo still around?
I don't know if Logo's around. All I know is that all my friends who are gay don't like things that are made for gays. They say that it's just like, oh, it's so pandering and whatever. It's the same stories and they think it's tired. So yeah, Patrick Lemire says Brosen, Fangasia, Bro Story 2, Brokeback Toy Box. But I really think it's a matter of you look. Oh, look, Horror Punk says Disney Sparkle or Disney Twinkle. The Lion Slay Queen says Elton Wilson.
Now we're just reaching here.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I do. All I'm saying is there's a market there. Look, if you go to the Film Threat shop at shop.filmthreat.com, we have a Film Threat logo like in colors from the American flag, right? With like stars and stripes on it. It says free to be indie. We also have a Film Threat logo t-shirt that says the indie adventure is just beginning and it's rainbow. I'm going to appeal to whoever wants to buy it. I don't care. And we've reviewed plenty of gay themed films on the show. Look, be careful we don't get a strike, says the Hidden Hand. What could we get a strike just from this kind of stuff?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I mean, as long as we don't get disrespectful, I think that's where most people get it from.
No derogatory language. No. Solomon Thornton says, I have gay friends and they hate films about themselves. It is a stereotype to them. One of my friends introduced me to Hong Kong action films and she is gay. She loves Chow Yun Fat. Look, in this Seth flicks, I'm white and I love Miles Morales. Yeah. Spider-Verse was awesome. Into the Spider-Verse, I thought was great because Miles Morales is a different kind of character. It's not just like race swapping Peter Parker. Miles Morales, his origin, his family, his dynamic, he is very different than Peter Parker. And that's why Miles Morales Spider-Man works well.
Here's the important thing. It was tested. Brian Michael Bendis created Miles Morales. He developed an entire story. People liked it. People bought it. I mean, that's an indicator of maybe you want to make something of this.
Ash Mellon, as an LGBT person, I don't care for this being forced in, and I hardly watch it because it's often cringy. It just isn't something that is even done well. If they do it, it's just a virtue signal. Like my gay friends are not all about, like, I've never seen anyone real represented who is gay on screen. Very little. It's the filmmakers that do it, they just don't make a big deal out of it. I would say that Tar with Cate Blanchett did a great job because it's not about her being gay. It's about her being kind of a monstrous person. That's what it's about. It has nothing to do with her being gay. She happens to be gay. Tar, strong recommend for that movie, by the way.
Well, even The Inspection, which is coming out soon, handles it well. Now, I think the problem with what people, I don't know what is about the studios that think that if you're going to tell a gay story, it has to be hypersexualized. It has to be people having sex constantly and making out, and it's like that's very limiting in your storytelling and in your market as well.
Another comment here from Jacob Gruber. Their target audience is not the gay people. They want to shove it down your throat. What do you mean by that? They deliberately target straight people especially kids, because they want everybody to see it. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert will fail for the same reasons as Bros did, says CD Stein 69. You were saying, Alan.
Yeah, no, I forgot now. So go ahead.
Oh my God, I'm sorry, man.
That's all right.
Ethan Snyder, Disney employees from all levels of the company have been caught in police stings at highly disproportionate rates. That company is evil. We don't know the half of what goes on there. So there you go.
Oh yeah. My real comment was about, to me, the battle is between normalization and capitalization. The point, I think, was they want to normalize and say, yes, there are gay people, there are gay couples, and they shouldn't be, discriminated against. They shouldn't have any physical brutality against them. But that's not the message they're portraying. They're not portraying a message that says that we need to treat each other respectfully. It's just saying that this is our lifestyle, and we're going to shove our lifestyle in your face. So we're going to be making out. It's like going to Thanksgiving, and everyone's having a great time, and then the gay couple just starts making out all of a sudden. Well, why? Why are you doing this right now? It just seems out of place, and it seems forced, and it seems there's intent behind it, malicious intent.
Wes says Disney isn't ready to completely remove their cloak yet. They would rather offer what looks like safe all ages content and sneak in subversive aspects here and there. That's what I think people object to. I mean, every single Disney thing I've seen this year has something gay. Every single one. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Thor, Love and Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Strange World. Willow. And again, it's sort of, I think that this is a solve that everybody can be happy. If gay content is so popular, spin it off into its own label, and then if people will either support it or they won't. To me, and also, by the way, we cover gay themed films on Film Threat every day, constantly, whether it's a documentary, a feature film, whatever. One of my favorite filmmakers of all time is John Waters, for how subversive he could be. I mean, he was also making fun of a lot of things in the culture, but his movies weren't ever about being gay. He happened to have gay characters in his films, but it features one of the most famous drag queens of all time, Divine. I love it. Now, John Waters does not make movies for kids. His movies are 18 plus. All right. But I love John Waters. Always have. And Film Threat, we've always covered gay films, documentaries. We have gay writers. But we're talking about children. And when you sneak it in, that's where you've lost my trust. I used to trust that you could go see a Disney film or TV show and there would be a fairy tale and it would be fairly innocuous entertainment, and it would capture your child's imagination, where they would, they'd be into the all the merchandise and whatnot. Then they could go meet their favorite character at a theme park. I mean, it was great. What they're doing now is they're forcing this on public that I think is basically saying they don't want it. So yeah, I just think,
by the way, I was gonna say, I think Andor, I don't think there's gay content in Andor. So
no, I thought there was. Am I wrong?
Was there? I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't remember it.
Billy Batson says, I'm Gen X and white, and I've been watching Japanese anime all my life. My entire life, I have never felt misrepresented in it. The entire concept of having to identify with a character is bizarre to me. I've always said that the point of going on a journey with a character is to experience the world through someone that doesn't look like you, that does not look like you. I spend 24/7 with me all day. I don't want to see me. Tell me a story where I can identify with someone who doesn't look like me. And your ability to do that, your ability to be able to be, empathetic, is important to the human experience, so that we can see the world through someone else's eyes, open our eyes up to, well, how do these people feel? How does this person feel? That's important. That's very important.
Yeah.
And when
we don't connect with, we don't
sorry.
connect with characters because of, we don't connect with characters because of their skin color, where they were born, or who they go to bed with at night. It's their experiences. Yeah.
Ash Mellon says, John Waters made fun movies. Hell yeah, he did. Hairspray. Oh my God, it's great. Crybaby with Johnny Depp. I love John Waters movies, says Seth Flicks. Yeah, John Waters was awesome. John Snowden for 5 says, Disney, gay, 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 us. It's too much gay, Disney. Hate has no home here. Yeah, no, it's true. It's like, look, it's not hate. It's just like, it's constant barrage, which basically just makes you, it makes me feel like I don't trust this brand anymore to just tell an honest story, or even to handle gay characters in a way that's not stereotypical. And we've seen lots of other films and stuff that that this, in fact, by the way, Strange World is not opening in like 20 different international markets because they've gotten to the point now. It used to be like, well, they could cut like a line or they could cut like a quick scene or change the they could do some ADR and change some audio. They can't do it now because now it's part of the story. So yeah, Dude B, thank you for that, John Snowden. Dude B says, who actually watches movies or TV series to see themselves on screen? Surely the whole point is to not see yourself and escape for a bit. Yeah, that's the point. George the Judge. George! Wait, are you? Sorry, George. I don't have a producer today. George the Giant Slayer for 50. No one would have issues with it, Chris, if they did not try to step into the shoes of parents and programmed children. Their films are homework. They don't want people to embrace it. They want them to celebrate it. All hail, Chris and Alan. Y'all are amazing. Well, thank you for that, George. Thank you for the support of the channel. We appreciate it. That's awesome. George, who did this amazing, what was the video, George's recent video that I watched?
It was Rings of Power. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought you meant when you joined us.
Not Rings of Power, something else, but it was really good. Anyways, Dude B says, is it opening in Qatar? It absolutely is not. And Charlie Brown, the actual Charlie Brown. Iron Giant is one of the best children's films of all time, and nobody in the audience, to my knowledge, was an actual Iron Giant, yet we all understood the feelings and the message. Yes, that's important. What are Chris's and Alan's favorite anime, says Weesnaw?
Gosh, I'll admit I'm not the biggest anime fan. I watched Robotech most of my life. That's the only thing I've really gotten into.
I really enjoyed Dragon Ball. I saw the film in the theater, and I know Attack on Titan, and I saw the live action for that.
I got to see that one.
MB Boyak says Disney's so hypocritical when it comes to international markets, all about the dollars, not about making a better world. Well, it's about sending a message. As Critical Drinker says, the message. You just think about it all the time. Yeah. Oh, really great suggestions in the chat. Original Voltron, just a lot of good Robotech.
Oh yeah, Voltron. Yeah.
Sparks Artifacts, Mark Lewis Spark. In the 90s and early 2000s, seeing people of color or someone gay in a movie never made me think twice about what I was watching. These days, I always assume more hate today than there was before. I don't know. I don't think there's more hate. There's more agenda being pushed. I don't know that there's more. I don't know. Alan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think, not to get conspiratorial, but I think there's an agenda behind it. So, and not that the message is wrong, so to speak, but it's forced, and it's meant to pick at us. All
right. Well, look, this has been a great discussion. Alan, there's 2 more movies left to review, and they're your movies, although we're past 2 hours now. We're going to talk about Pale Blue Eye and Deconstructing Karen, but with your internet, maybe we should save that for next week.
Yeah,
Chad,
maybe.
What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely put Pale Blue Eye off just because that's got a later release. I don't think it's in theaters
Karen,
right now.
I don't know. I just think that you're choppy. You're choppy, Alan.
Okay, yeah. Then let's put those off then.
All right. Okay. So I promise that we will get to Pale Blue Eye, Christian Bale. We're going to talk about that next week, and Deconstructing Karen, which is a documentary. Do we have a review of it on the Film Threat Film Threat?
We will soon. I'm writing it right now. So
okay, cool.
Hopefully this weekend.
So we'll have that. So go to filmthreat.com for all your film review needs. Check it out. Lots of movies you will see not reviewed anywhere else. We are reviewing them, including Enola Holmes, the series on Netflix, King of Laughter. There's our top 10 Thanksgiving films. That story ran yesterday. A lot of movies to check out. A lot of just all kinds of films that you would not get exposed to in any other way than for reading Film Threat. I think that's unfortunately going to wrap it up for us today. We're having technical issues. But I just want to say to everybody, thank you for spending time with us on the morning after Thanksgiving. We will be back next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, where we'll be reviewing lots of indie films, and we'll be going to be a lot of things to talk about. Alan. And
Absolutely.
what else? Go to filmthreat.com. Follow us. We are Film Threat on everything. And Alan, what did you want to say? I knew you were going to do that. Because as we're wrapping up, that's what people like to do. Here's you know what? Can I tell you? I went to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge when it opened a couple years ago. This is maybe 2019, 28. Whenever it opened, I got to go there. A friend who works there, and I tried the blue milk. This is pretty much what I think about everything Disney now. Well, okay, I'll give it a try. It's great. Anyway,
audio. So.
Oh, okay, you lost audio. All right, but okay, that's okay. We're having all these technical problems, folks. It is what it is. I hate to wrap up the stream early, but well, actually not early. We went over 2 hours. We normally go a little bit more than that, but I want to thank everybody in our chat. You're on fire today. We had over 800 people watching. Little by little, our audience is growing larger and larger. So thank you so much for your support, your super chats, your comments, your questions. We appreciate it. Oh, and we lost Alan. So we're going to leave it at that. We are 59,000 subscribers and growing. Our audience watching us live continues to grow. I love it. It's 59,000 subscribers. 59,000. But join us next week where Alan and I will tell us exactly what we think about movies. And I don't know, we're either going to love it or hated it. One or the other is going to come out. But thank you so much. We'll be back. Read filmthreat.com. Go to shop.filmthreat.com to check out our merch. And that wraps it up. Have a great rest of your holiday weekend. Get those Black Friday deals. I think I'm going to go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have some cocktails and then go shopping. Then I'll be surprised at what I got. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.